afternoon. Hopefully lots of you are going to be joining us today. We seem to have had a bit of a hiccup on the system and it didn't program in today's Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So hopefully there's a few of you joining us. Dolores, welcome. Blimey, that came up quick. Fingers crossed. Well, I can see that I'm on Facebook. So that works. And YouTube is working. Well, hey, we're up for it today. And I was organised ahead of myself as well today, which is very unlike me these days. Anyway, if you are joining us on either Facebook or YouTube, feel free to join in, ask any questions, and let me know you're there so that I know I'm not on my own, which is always nice. So let's flip over. We will just get that one out of the way. So we are doing something a little bit different today. Look, I leave the room for 2 minutes and it all goes pear-shaped, look. Sorry, made you a bit dizzy there, didn't I? Right, so we are going to... Hi, Helen. So we're going to be doing... Lovely to see you, Anne. Love to see a picture of what you've actually been knitting all this time that you've been in the car once you get that finished. So today we are going to be... We actually had a lady email us last week asking if we could do something. Hi, Margaret, with the If the Shoe Fits. And I thought, perfect opportunity to use a stamp I love and use my, I think probably my most used ever stamp that I own. Hi, Lynn. So let's get started. So we are going to be using If the Shoe Fits, which involves one larger stamp here, and then If the Shoe Fits, buy a matching outfit, and Life is Short, Heels Shouldn't Be, it says on there. We are going to be using Dot Dot stamp set. Now, I launched this probably about 3 years ago, and it was designed to be able to make your own backgrounds with, and I just love it. It is so versatile. You can use it for so many different things. Hi, Lorraine. Cooler in Spain. It's a bit warmer here today, although you may notice I still have a jumper on because our houses have flint walls, and it really keeps the cool in. Shame it lets all the heat out too in the winter, but hey ho. Yeah, so we're also going to be using Crystal Clear Embossing Powder and Versafine in Onyx Black. We are going to be using our sticky glue that comes in the 2 sizes. Blimey, lots of you are coming in. I can't keep up with you all now. So hello everybody that's joined me since I said hello. We're going to be using clean colour pens today in light blue, lilac, yellow green and salmon pink, purely because they kind of go with these colours. I should have laid them out like that. Look, that looks quite cool. Oh, ran out of room there. Yeah, so we're going to be using light blue, which is number 36. We are going to be using yellow green, which is 53, lilac, which is 83, and sugared almond pink, which is 200. We are doing those particular colours because they're the colours I've chosen in Oxides. So kind of colour coordinate however you want to do. You don't have to use these particular colours. Talking of Oxides, we are using Salvaged Patina, Twisted Citron, Shaded Lilac and Kitsch Flamingo today. We're also using our super smooth white cardstock, which comes in the 300 and the 250 GSM, and we are using our black cardstock, which comes in the lighter weight 120 GSM and 270 GSM. Michael, the pens I'm talking about they're a Kuretake, and they're called Clean Colour Real Brush pens. They're the only pens you'll ever see me use, because they're the only ones I've ever actually managed to blend with. Now, if you want to blend with these particular pens, you have to use, or it's much easier to use, watercolour cardstock. We are looking for a new supplier of watercolour cardstock at the moment. But yes, if you're blending with them, use watercolour cardstock. I'm not blending today, and I'm just using them straight onto my super smooth. So I'll explain those as we're going along. And obviously we told you what colour inks we're using. And I don't want to put them away because I'm going to be using them. So I'll just tuck those up top out of the way. And we will pop these bits and pieces somewhere. I still haven't found that place I'm going to be putting all my bits and pieces so that I can show you again before we're finished so that you know what we've used. Because I get lots of emails afterwards. What colour was this? What colour was that? And I do not mind answering them at all. But it's also nice if I can tell you as we're going along as well. So I've just got to do a bit of manoeuvring to be able to fit everything in. Michael, yes, we do sell them. We actually sell them as individual pens because you can get them in sets. But we don't do them in sets because I found when I have sets for things, there's always loads of them that I never actually touch. If you are going to go into colouring in a big way... Mandy, it was you that asked, was it? Perfect. If you're going to go into colouring in a big way and you want the full set, go for it. But I personally haven't got or don't buy the full set because I don't use so many of the colours. So that's why we sell them individually. They are available over on our website. Right, so let's get started. Today's cards is an 8x8 because it's quite a big stamp. Oh, that's nice to hear, Helen. It was a nice little show at Lincoln, wasn't it? Those of you that didn't make it, we were at the Craftorama show at the Lincoln Showground last Sunday, and it was really nice. Hopefully, they're hoping to do it again at the beginning of October, and hopefully we'll get a few more people there as well. So, to start with, Michael, I would go with. See, I would always go pinks and blues. Definitely need some greens in there. And then, because you can use them to watercolour with and all sorts. It's your own personal choice really on the colours. Go for the basics. The red's green, pink. There's a blender pen. I would definitely recommend you ask for that. I'm glad you enjoyed them, Sarah. So anyway, let's carry on with this bit. Right, 8x8 card. Black cardstock in 7 3/4 inches. It is a tight fit on this card. Then we have white cardstock in 7 1/2 inches square. Both of these, obviously. Then we have a piece of black, which is 4 3/4 by 5 3/4, and a piece of white. You guessed it, 4 1/2 by 5 1/2. And then you need just your scrap bits for your sentiment. Hi Tina, hi Teresa. As I say, Michael, if you need any more help, please feel free to give me a shout or ping me on a message on here or on our Gmail account, honeydewcrafts@gmail.com. So, right, just a couple of things I want to mention, just in case I forget to mention it when we go along. Obviously, I have done my sentiment beforehand, which you can see. Now, I did it once already, and this is giving you a sneak peek on what we're doing. The background was too busy to read it. So when you come to doing your sentiment, be careful what you do with the background. So we are going to be using If the Shoe Fits by a Matching Outfit. Too much detail on there. So go with the smaller, daintier parts of this as you're doing this one. I don't know about you, but I like shopping for shoes because 9 times out of 10 they'll fit me, whereas not necessarily the outfit to go with it does. Right, so I am going to I have prepped quite a bit of this ahead because although it's a really effective technique, you can get a bit lost in it and you can go on and on and on and on and on. So I'm pre-warning you now, you can lose your afternoon playing with this particular technique. Now, I know I always say to all of you, I take my ink to my stamp, my ink to my stamp, not my stamp to my ink. Now, there are a couple of little exceptions to the rule, and the word being little is the bit that I mean. Because obviously the tiny, tiny parts of this particular set of stamps, see, this is what I mean, look how well used it is. I have actually lost one at the moment, I can't find it. So we're going without this big set of flowers here. But it's a really useful set of stamps. So we've got the 2 larger pieces, and then you've got loads and loads of little tiny dots. Let me grab them again. The packaged one to show you. So you've got loads of little tiny dots that are in little rows and tiniest little daisy flowers. And then obviously you've got this little dotty stripe here. You've got one that can go in the corner here. So you can get really carried away in building this up, and it is so much fun. I just love doing this. So it was quite nice to have the excuse to do it today. And Mandy hopefully will give you some ideas on what to do with the card, with this particular set of stamps. Again, it's a really nice set of stamps. What's the word I'm looking for? What stamp is it? If the shoe fits, is a really, really nice stamp to play with. So hopefully this will give you some ideas. So large stamp. What colour are we going to go with first? Let's go for pink. Cool. So I'm going to go for pink. I am looking forward to the days when we're not having to wear jumpers in the house anymore. So lots and lots of ink on there. Now remember, your ink pad is square. If you're using Oxides, you don't want those lines to show through particularly. So try and not keep it all in a straight line. Kind of turn it around and wiggle it about and do all sorts with it. So literally we are going to make a complete background paper using our dot dot set of stamps. We also have another set which I didn't bring the brand new set with me, but I can show you. It's called Extra Lines. Once I've done this one, I'll put this to one side and show you, which is also a really nice set to work with to do something like this. And it works really well with the dot dot. So in this one you get the Harlequins, you get all sorts, and these strips here are individual lines. So we've got the individuals there, then we've got a full set here. That actually looks like a cross, but when I designed it, I did it for sort of like the corners of things. But you can use it as quite a funky cross if you wanted to. So that's another set that we also have that does this kind of thing. So just going to wipe this over because it will. This is probably the only time you'll ever see me cleaning stamps as I'm going along, is because obviously I'm mixing and matching colours all the time when I'm doing this one. So we need to make sure that we're not cross-contaminating our colours. So what's everybody been up to this week? We have got a busy weekend ahead again. We are heading to Coventry for our spring/summer workshop. Really looking forward to it. It's a really nice venue. Yeah, and we've got lots of people joining us and some new faces, which will be lovely. We met some of them at the weekend at the show, so it's always nice when you've met people beforehand, but it's always nice when there's somebody new at the event too. Just hope they enjoy themselves. We've got lots of ladies that have been coming to that workshop for a very long time, so we must be doing something right there. So that was Salvaged Patina that I've just used, and some Kitsch Flamingo. Now obviously we're going to fill this whole page up. I'm going to do it the whole page because at the moment in my head I'm not sold on where I'm putting the main sort of topper that we make. So go ahead and fill your whole page. With lots of different designs, as I said. So you can just chop, change, and if you wanted to, you don't actually have to re-ink it. If you just wanted a second generation stamping on there, you can do whatever you would like. Who else has joined us? Elizabeth. Hi Elizabeth. I couldn't see you there. I position my light just so that you can see what I'm doing, which then means it bounces off my screen, so it makes it a bit more difficult for me to see who's joining us and try and catch up with the comments. So bear with me if I disappear off occasionally. I haven't left you. So that's the start of what we're doing. Now you never know if you're going to go back to those, so don't put them all away yet. Now, as I said to you before, there are exceptions to my rule about bringing your stamp to your ink and your ink to your stamp. Some of them being with the tiny little stamps you can do it, but with the larger ones of these I wouldn't recommend that you take your stamp to your ink, I would make sure you ink it out properly. And again, you're going to be chopping and changing with different colours, so I just keep kitchen paper or something like that beside me. In chrome of flying kites. How cool is that, Jan? Enjoy. You'll have to watch us back on catch up. Cromer is one of our seaside towns in Norfolk, which would be just down the road from where Jan lives. So she'll have to come and watch us later on. Don't know why I cleaned that off, because I wanted to use it again in pink, so didn't need to clean it. So as I said, just build it up, build it up, build it up. This is what I mean by it can take a long time to, or you can lose your day doing this. Hi Sue. Let's go on with a bit of lilac, shall we? You really can. The day just could disappear quite happily on us. And nearly did that, and then I'd have really regretted that, I think. And I'm also not going to take that one off the block. I'm very lucky I have got quite a lot of blocks, so I can chop and change between the different blocks without. Now this is one that I was going to say about not having to, that you can take your stamp to your ink pad. Just make sure you get full coverage on that before you whip it away. Otherwise, every time you're going to go in, I want a few more of that colour before. Yeah, did it again. Look, every time you want to add more colour, you're going to be picking it up, putting it down, and they're such dinky little stamps that you don't necessarily need to do that. So just pre-warn you, and don't be scared to go in the middle. You're going to be covering it. In fact, as I said before, I want to put something in the middle there. I think we'll go with another bit of pink. Again, you may not even see any of this as we're doing it. This is going on your wish list. Sarah, you will not regret it. It is such a fun stamp to play with. I love it. You're literally building the whole card. This is proper crafting from the beginning, isn't it? A piece of white cardstock. Everything has its place. I mean, lots of people love to craft using patterned papers and things, and they are just as perfect for that particular type of crafting. I personally like to start mine from a white piece of paper. Now obviously using Oxides, you are not going to get a perfectly crisp image, and that's part of the fun of this. Right, pick up a couple more of these in this size before we head over to some of the smaller ones. Bear with me. I'm trying to keep an eye on what's going on so that I can catch everything that everybody's saying if I can, and my system just switched itself off. Which is not ideal when you're trying to do something with it. So as I said, this is the one time when it's these tiny dinky little stamps that I'll let you break the rules and take your stamp to your ink pad. I don't let you do it very often, but sometimes needs must. And I actually think this would look quite cool, this technique. Just all one colour, so black and white or monochrome. I think that might look quite fun too. And look how tiny this little dot is. I just love this little row of dots. Look how tiny it is. But what a difference it can make to something that, as you're doing it. And remember, don't do everything going in the same direction. This is the hardest bit, is trying to be random about it. That is definitely the hardest bit. Take a few different sizes of our flowers now. This one is probably the biggest stamp that I would be prepared to take to the ink pad, and even then I would probably prefer not to. Martin's out doing the job from hell at the moment, I think, trying to... We have this really weird grout in between our tiles in the garden, our slabs in the garden, and every time he power washes them, loads of it comes out and he gets cross with it. And now he's out there trying to fill in the gaps. Wish we'd never done it. Chosen that grout, so he's having that pleasure. While the sun's shining, finally, although saying that, oh actually it's come back out again. While I was prepping this, it disappeared on us. So I am slowly building this and waffling while I'm doing so. It's such an underrated, such a forgotten stamp, I think, this one. Whenever I start using it, people said, oh, I didn't know what to do with that. And now, hopefully, you all will. Such a nice stamp. We will get to If a Shoe Fits, Mandy, I promise. I'm just doing this bit ahead. Probably should have done the smaller one first, but you will get to see me do it on a mini version, as a bigger version as well. Actually, that one's not so big. Let's go in there. As I said, don't forget your middle piece. Oh, we nearly did some cross-contamination. Did you see that? I'm sure on such a small stamp, if it happened, it doesn't matter. Do you see what I mean? That you could easily lose your day playing with dots and flowers. I know my piece is going to fit somewhere around there-ish. So I'm not hugely bothered about that middle, but I am going to keep going just until we have filled it. So pretty much all you're going to miss out on me doing today is cutting out the cardstock, because the way I've done this means I'm going to need to do the smaller piece as well. I should have just done the smaller piece, but now you get to join me for a bit longer, which I hope you don't all mind. Right, let's go with a few of this colour flower now. Just as I say, remember, don't always use it in the same direction you want, and don't be scared to go over the top of something that you've already stamped. You can do that with the oxides and the colour will stay true. And just because I'm not sure where I'm going to position my final piece, I need to put something in the middle there. So I'm going to just pop on another one of these green ones. Wherever it lands. Don't drop it. That was lucky. Again, bear with me 2 seconds, the system's gone off again. I am here, I promise. Oh, it's gone completely now, so we'll have to manage without. Sorry, I am back, I promise. Fingers crossed I won't miss too many comments coming through, because as I say, I can't really see what's going on. So that is your background piece. and that will be layered up onto your larger black piece. So we are going to do a very similar thing again for the smaller piece. Ink your stamp up, and don't be scared to use a big stamp and just be using a small part of it. All I would recommend you did, if you were going to do that, is make sure that you have something underneath so it doesn't make a mess if you're not happy with where it is. And remember to go back in and re-ink it if it's a section that you want to keep. You don't have to use the full stamp, but it's quite a nice stamp, this one, with the larger one, because you get a busy section in the middle and then it goes out to it fans itself out to a slightly lighter bubble finish. Don't ask me how I managed to spread that far, but I did. I am going to use one of these corners now. I am hoping we are still live because you have all gone very quiet on me. Again, you don't have to use the whole thing, but I would always recommend that you ink the whole thing, whether you use it or not, because by the time you land down on it, you can guarantee that you will have missed the section that you actually ended up deciding you'd have quite liked to use. And as I said, these are oxides, so you will not get a completely crisp, clean image. So don't panic. I'll take some of this one again. So hopefully you can see why these are some of my go-tos. You're all concentrating, Tina. That's nice. Now obviously the shoe is going on here, so you don't have to make this maybe quite as busy, although looking at what I did actually make it quite busy. I'm not going to make you watch me colour it all in. Because that might be a little tedious. When I coloured mine in, I did do it in quite chunky pieces, just because obviously I was thinking I was going to be colouring it on here, so I would do it. You can go in every single tiny little piece if you want to, but I personally didn't want to. Right, now again we're going to build up with those tiny little stamps. Oh, they would, Teresa. I don't do Father's Day cards now, unfortunately, for myself. But yeah, they would. No, in those. Do you remember I did one beginning of the year? I think it was with wild honey, and chipped sapphire, and mustard. No, not mustard seed. Chipped sapphire and faded jeans. Those colours would look cool with this. As I said, I'm going to go in now with all those much smaller stamps and build this up. Now the smaller ones have got lots of little tiny flowers on, which means that if you're wiping them over with a baby wipe, you could get some fluffy bits on there. So just be a little bit cautious when you're wiping them down and then going back in to reuse them, that you haven't got any fluff or stringy pieces from your wet wipes or cleaning cloths, whichever you have, transfer on there. You don't want that to happen because you'll curse it. resorting to the really long blocks now. I do, if I'm going to the stamp pad, tend to use an end of a stamp of the block. That's my own personal choice. It's entirely up to you if that's what you want to do or not. You don't have to. My Salvaged Patina is quite a juicy ink pad, so I'm always very aware of that when I'm inking it up. You all know what your ink pads are like, so. Watching from Munich Airport, who am I speaking to? Anne, how nice. Hopefully you've been there for pleasure and not work. Oh, well, hopefully it'll make your time fly. Oh, literally. Make your wait go quicker for you. As I said, don't be scared to go in and stamp over bits that you've already done as well. It needs something there, but just remember your shoe's going in there. But we do need to fill this section with something more than just flowers. We're getting a bit symmetrical there. So lilac circles, here we come. Wherever it lands. You forgot us, Carol. Oh no. You'll have to go back and watch us. But you're getting the idea of what's going on anyway. Even though you're a little bit late to our party. So back in with these little dots. Blimey, my Salvaged Patina seems to be particularly juicy today. The trick is to remember to be a bit more random with your positioning. And we're getting a little bit symmetrical, so I need to try and pull myself out of that. And as I said, because I did this, did the big one instead, I was just going to show you how to do it with the smaller one and got carried away with myself. Unfortunately, you're having to watch me do the whole card. But we are almost there. Just pop a couple of more little pieces on there. So we've used the pink, the green, the lilac. We need a bit of Salvaged Patina. Oh, don't drop it. Okay, I think that's us done as far as building that background. So how fun is that? How nice it, I mean, as I say, you can see you can get really carried away and go on and on and on. But hopefully we'll learn when to stop, and how time can just fly while you're doing this. I'm just trying to clear myself a bit of a space. I've got so many bits of stamps and stuff out now. But if I can clear myself a little bit of a space, that would make my life a little bit easier. So I'm just going to pop those away. As you can see, they are such a well-loved set of stamps. Very, very worn. Very well used they are. And as you all saw right at the beginning of the video, I have done the same on the background for my sentiment. So we're now going to go on to If the Shoe Fits. And I'm going to ink If the Shoe Fits up with some black ink. I'm going to cover these, close these up now because we are done using the oxides. We'll come in with our ink. Versafine Onyx Black. Lots and lots of little light taps to put your ink on your stamp. Don't press too hard and make sure you put plenty of ink on there. And you're watching from Rome, my goodness, everybody's jet setting around the world. So I'm going to go straight in with that stamp. It's quite a big stamp, so make sure you put plenty of pressure on there to transfer that ink onto the paper. If you struggle with stamping, then I would recommend that you put your ink on and then put on the same amount again. Because 9 times out of 10 people's problem with stamping is they haven't put enough ink on the stamp. If you haven't got enough ink on the stamp is not going to stamp out. Thank you. I like the choice of colours too. I had about 15 different colours out on here at one point this morning, and I thought, can't really use that many colours. So we condensed it down to those few. And that black on there looks quite stark until you put everything all together. So crystal clear embossing powder over the top. I would recommend that you let that ink dry that you've stamped out your background first. Luckily most of mine has dried because I waffle too much, but I would recommend you allow that to dry a little bit before you put your stamping and embossing on there. And then we're going to heat. Those of you that haven't watched me before, I always heat from underneath because that helps give you a smoother finish. So get your heat gun as hot as you can, and then I heat from underneath. You do not have to do this, it's my own personal preference, particularly when I'm colouring. And it will take a little bit longer to do from underneath than it does if you're doing it from on the top. So while that's still warm, I'm going to just give that a little bit of a wiggle. So that is our stamped out image on the background that started off as a white sheet of paper. So there's lots of detail in this. That's what I said to you, you could colour that all in as individual pieces if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'll just grab my pens. I have already done one earlier, so just so that you have a rough idea, because we have heat embossed this and we're using watercolour pens, our clean colour real brush pens, when you colour in, the ink will sit, if you touch that embossing powder where it's heated, the ink will sit on top. Make sure you go in and blot those pieces off. So it's literally colouring this in however you wanted it to be coloured. I mean, like, I'm going to take this whole section here, make it yellow. I'm not, yellow, green. I'm not going to keep colouring the whole thing, but just to give you an idea. Just make sure you go in and blot those pieces as you're going, because you will curse if you don't and you smudge this. There are ways of hiding it after you've smudged it, but you don't really want to smudge it in the first place if you can help it. But it is a really nice stamp to colour in if you've got the time to just really sit and enjoy colouring it. Obviously, I don't want you to be sat bored watching me colour. So you're just going to keep building it up and hopefully end up with something like this. As I said, I coloured mine in quite big blocky pieces, but you can do it however you want. So now it's just a case of putting this all back together. I've lost one of my black pieces, there we go. Remember how I always say don't forget to carry it through. I am just going to go back to my set of stamps. I'm going to take my big stamp, that big chunky one that we had. I'm going to ink it up. We may as well go with pink because you know me. Just so that you've taken that theme through. I'm going to pop that there. So that will carry our colour through our design. My very well loved stamp. Hi Betty. I'm glad you like it, ladies. I'm impressed with myself putting things back. It's not like me, is it? So we will now put this all together. We'll have one finished card. And considering you've actually watched me do this right from the start, I haven't done too bad. So this was the one I did with you guys. This is the one I did earlier. Now obviously I hadn't filled anything in the middle because you weren't going to see it. But that's up to you how you do it. You don't have to fill it. But even just like that, and with, obviously this says if the shoe fits by the matching outfit, but if you just wanted to put a happy birthday on there or something like that, or just because, or thinking of you, or say hello, that's just a cool background, cool card on its own, isn't it? So let's put all of this together. Hopefully my glue hasn't got itself stuck. Of course it has. That's live Facebook for you, hey? So if you didn't want to do the shoe, you wouldn't have to, because that background looks quite funky just on its own. Ooh, I've started to concentrate, that's not like me. And then we'll place this on here. And again, it's kind of, it would go through as a large letter because there's not any dimension on this. So the next few weeks, we are going to do a little bit more concentrating on some of our backgroundy stamps and what you can do with them. Because we've got these, we've got the paint brushes or brush strokes, we've got paint splodges, extra lines. So we'll start using those a little bit over the next few weeks and show you how they kind of all work together. Look, I smudged it so badly on my first try, I had to flip it over so you get all my secrets. Look, no hiding anything. I had too many fingerprints on there to be able to hide what I'd done, so we just flipped it over. So Mandy, hopefully you're still managing to watch us, and hopefully we're giving you some ideas. Now ladies, gents, are we going to go in the middle and pop a sentiment off the side, or are we going to go up high and pop the sentiment at the bottom? I can't decide. In the middle and the sentiment on the hoof? No, I can't do sentiments on the hoof. Quite like it like that, I think. What does people think? Tell me. Like so? 1 or 2? Someone give me a number. 1 or 2? I suppose the answer is, if you've got a mark somewhere that you don't like how it's come out, stick it. You want it up high. Like that. Now see, I wouldn't ever do that way round, but it works. Oh good grief, we've got a mixture now, 1 and 2. 2 for 2, and I can't remember what I said was 2. Was that 2? Or was that 2? Right, we'll start again. 1. Oh dear. Or 2. See. Okay, Mum, which one? Oh. Blimey, this is going to take me too long to make these decisions. I think we're going to go with that. That way you still get to see so much more of the... Right, decision made. It was too even a number. And I couldn't remember which one I said was 1. Oh good, I'm glad you're still with us. So that is our card finished after all those decisions. Come in a bit closer so you can see the colours. So if the shoe fits, buy a matching outfit. Thankfully most of the time shoes fit me. The outfit's not always so much. But hey ho, there's more to life to worry about, I suppose. So hopefully you've all liked that. I am going to quickly run in with what we have used. Pop my card out of the way for a moment. So we've used Dot Dot, Hi Emma, and we have used If the Shoe Fits. And on this set you get Life is Short, Your Heels Shouldn't Be, and If the Shoe Fits, Buy a Matching Outfit. And it's a really nice one to colour in, this one. We have used clean colour pens in light blue, which is number 36, yellow green, which is 53, lilac, which is 83, and sugared almond pink, which is 200. We've used Distress Oxides in Salvaged, Patina, Kitsch, Flamingo, Shaded Lilac and Twisted Citron. We've used Versafine Onyx Black and Crystal Clear Embossing Powder. We have also used our sticky glue in the 2 sizes, 30mm and 120mm. And then the cardstock we used was Super Smooth 300 GSM, but we do it in a 200 GSM as well. And then we have the black in the 120 lightweight paper and 270 GSM cardstock. So hopefully you have all enjoyed today's card, and this is what we finished up with. I'll just come in again quickly so you can see the colours. And remember, this started out as a completely plain white piece of paper on both. Pop this up, come back and see me. I'm glad you liked it all, everybody. Fingers crossed it's the kind of thing you want to be seeing as we're doing these Facebook Lives. As I said, we're going to do a little bit more with our background stamps in the next few weeks. So next week I think I'm going to be using, what am I using? I think I'm going to try with paint splodgers and maybe the brush strokes next week. So if you're around, please feel free to come and join us. We're on YouTube and Facebook Live every single Wednesday. Apart from a few weeks in July that I'm going to be taking off to go on, have a holiday. We've already put it all together now. So yeah, I may even try and film a couple of videos before so that we can still put those live for you. Can't guarantee it, but I'll try. So next week we're going to work on paint splodgers and brush strokes, I think. Don't hold me to it. I might change my mind by the time I get there. So today's project, as I said, if the shoe fits, oh, which way am I going? Other way. I had a 50-50 chance, didn't I? If the shoe fits and ... and these are all available over on our website. Also, all the oxides and pens and everything that we've used are also available on our website. We are extremely busy at the moment, so we're trying our hardest to get orders out, but please bear with us. Also, we seem to have had an invasion on our Be Inspired page. Anybody that puts a competition on there other than me is not supposed to be doing that. So please, ladies and gents, if you do see competitions come up on there, silly little things that shouldn't be on our page, please let me know. I do try my very best to keep track on it, but don't answer the questions, don't guess how the numbers, etc, etc. Just let me know that they're there and we will try and get them removed. We've been fighting this a little bit this week. Obviously somebody else somewhere in the world's got nothing better to do. So if you've got any questions, please give me a shout. You can email us at honeydewcrafts@gmail.com. You can message us through our website, which is honeydewcrafts.co.uk, or you can pop a message up on here, or get us through Messenger on Facebook, or leave a comment with Facebook or YouTube. Have a lovely afternoon. We will see you all again next Wednesday, which is, believe it or not, the 31st of May. Can you believe it? So next week we're at Coventry for our workshop. The following weekend we are at the Sincerely Yours workshop. It's not Sincerely Yours workshop. Sincerely Yours Papercraft show, Thetford in Norfolk. And the week after that we are at the Craftorama in Kent. So hopefully we'll see lots of you at some of those places. Have a lovely afternoon and we will see you all again next week.